Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM23 Lions, episode 124. We're on stage 20 of the Tour de France. We're about to wrap it up, and Shimway is setting off with a -1 race day condition, so not a very good draw for him. But as he settles in, a 78 to a 77 should be manageable. He's only a 72 time trialist. Plus, that -1 could make it a little tough to maintain the 78. Matoni had set off a couple kilometers before I got control of him, before I spotted that he had started, and he pushed too hard in those first couple of kilometers, so it set him back a little bit. But you can see after the second and final time check, he's just a minute 19 down in the top 30 and looking a pretty decent time, but at 44th overall, it's not going to be enough to impact anything. We have managed to get Isaacs and Baduna into a fairly good time, so it is pretty obvious where we need to be, what we need to do to maintain a consistent effort throughout the race. Here with 1K to go, you can see how Matoni is running out and had just a little bit left for the finish line. He's 18th, minute 22 down. Shimway, yeah, that 78 is holding on to Henok, who is 24th, who does have something to gain or lose, but it's really just a minor position or two. So we get out of the saddle, we push, we get up to speed, and we settle in. 69 time trial with a +3. It's one of the lower race day conditions he's had, but it's not bad compared to expected. It's okay. Not a great time trialist, but with a 69 it should be okay, and with 84 stamina it definitely helps. Arab, obviously the one we're watching out for. We're trying to get him into that top 10. Shimway, that 78, hurts him a little bit, but there's a couple little descents in this area, which is going to allow him to catch up a little bit on that expenditure versus where he's at. Plus, you still have that red bar to get through that last kilometer or two, so I think he'll be okay keeping the 78 going. Comes the last descent, I believe, here in just a moment. No, he's 253 down, though. It's a bit too far to help a Shimway. He's already 3 minutes behind. But we're looking at really, really big time gaps. 9 minutes to Mason Samuels. Okay, Henok cannot maintain a 78. Let's drop him to a 77. A Shimway, the 78's going to make it. In fact, as we go into this final kilometer, we can push just a hair harder. There you go, final turn. Acceleration, 326 down for him. That's going to help him gain some time. Okay, it's a -1 draw for Arab. +5 was his expected today. We'll be out of the saddle. See, they had us pushing harder. He's burning red bar here. Out the saddle. Get up to speed. Now we can settle down. That's a 79 time trial. We know that he can definitely maintain that 78. In fact, I think we can manage to push a 79 at some stage. But Henok has recovered. We can get back up to his 78 territory, maybe even a 79 for his final 7 kilometers, and then we'll focus on Arab. Arab at a 78 is going to be just fine for now. Henok is 317 down at the final time check. It's not going to be a great time for him. He'll be further behind than a Shimway. It's going to be hard for him to move forward with. Remy Cavagna has the best time right now ahead of Wout van Aert, just 7 seconds ahead of him. Bitziger after that, Hater. 1.4k out, we're into the red bar, but Henok pushing that a little bit harder. He's got 700 meters, 600 meters. Oh, that 81 was perfect. 82 was a hair too much, but 358 down for him. And we check back in with Arab, who is a little bit in deficit territory, but 45 seconds down for him. 79 time trial still doesn't get you very far when there's guys in the field that have, like a Venipol has an 84 base. He's got an 88 before you even throw in a race day condition bonus. It's just not something we're going to compete with. But if we can get a decent time here with Arab, last time, the earlier time trial, he was third best, I believe, of all the GC guys. He was about 18th overall on the stage, or 17th overall on the stage, and he's looking pretty good for his performance today. We're going to start pushing that 79. I think he can manage to do that for the long term. What I have seen on this time trial, as I've gone through the other 7 riders, has been fairly consistent. Most riders are coming out a bit too strong in the first sector and have to back off. And I've seen us move up the order a lot from the first time check. Not necessarily on time. We're still losing time, but we lose significantly less. So instead of 45 seconds, that would be a minute 30. He's not going to be a minute 30 down here. I suspect that Arab is only going to be just over a minute. And it's a minute 3. That's what I've noticed pretty consistently with this one. It should be the same sort of thing as you get to the finish line here. Maybe a minute 10, minute 15, and that would put us just inside the top 20 overall against time trialists. So that could be a pretty competitive time, and I think he can even manage to go harder than the 80 that he's doing. You can see Roland is the guy who's behind us in the standings, and we've caught up to him. He's 2 minutes down. He's not going to be a threat. He was 4 minutes behind us anyway. We'll start checking in on other riders, getting those time checks as soon as Arab crosses the line. But overtaking the next rider is a nice one. He's a 67. Almost there. Red bar's gone at 1.2K, so that means we got to back off a little bit. 79 will definitely get us there. 80 will definitely get us there. 81 will get us there. Yes. Okay, last push. Arab, 11th, 49 seconds down. We actually gained at the end. That's a great time. That is a great time for Sammy Arab. Just outside of the top 10. That'll definitely finish in the top 20. Arnsman, now it's the top 10. So the one to beat, well, it's not Arnsman. Could be Arnsman. Like, there's just mere seconds. This is the difference between 9th and 10th. But Arnsman was at 42 down. He's at a minute 8. We gained 19 seconds. I think that was enough to beat Arnsman. Pidcock was the one that it was like, yeah, no, we know we're going to beat Pidcock. I think we're headed for 9th place here. Pidcock was already 2:13 down as he heads for the finish, and he is definitely not going fast right now. He's going awfully slow here. Okay, little acceleration there. He's pushing up his speed, but 45, 46K. 3:31 down. Easily beat him. Here's Leknasund. Now, Leknasund was... it's like 5 minutes or something like that, the gap. So no way. Not happening. We beat him by about 15 seconds. Petrovic. Now, this is somebody who's 4:45 down. And he was the one who was 8th. Not Leknasund was ahead of him and overtook him. 8:40. We're 3-minute gap between us. We were right about a minute down, which means we need 4 minutes. He was already 4:45 down. He'll finish 4:14 down. I think that was enough. It looks like we could be headed for 8th place. Vingegaard has a great time, as he should. We're definitely not overtaking him. He gets 26 seconds down. Lenny Martinez, he's losing much less time than others, 3:32, so that will not be enough to overtake him. Brambilla is definitely not losing time, but he's a similar time trialist, and look at what his time is like. It's a minute 3. Not too bad. Almeida is going to have a good time, definitely inside of a minute. Second, 7 seconds behind for the 3rd placeman. That's a challenging time. That's easily going to keep his podium. And Pogačar goes top. Will Evenepoel go top? He's first at each of the first 2 time checks, and he will cross the line, winning the stage. So the top 3 guys finish the stage in the top 4 positions. They go out and dominate. Vingegaard was just 9th. Jumbo Visma, 4 guys in the top 10. Holy cow. We do put in a very, very solid time with Sammy Arab, though, and that will secure the top 10 for sure. And sure enough, it moves us all the way up into 8th place, 17 seconds ahead of Arnsman. So we did beat him. And the surprise one was Petrovic. The one we were not surprised about was Pidcock, who's out of the top 10 entirely. We replaced him in the top 10, but did not expect us. I was thinking 9th or 10th. Did not think 8th was going to be in the cards, but it was. Ben Tullet is the winner of the King of the Mountains. All he has to do is reach the finish line at the Champs-Élysées to claim that one. Girmay still leads the points classification, but there's enough points on offer in that final stage that he could still lose it to Arnaud Delay. Philipsen is too far back. Pogačar won't challenge anyway, and Ewan is too far back. So it's down to Delay and Girmay. Young rider classification, Arab jumped Petrovic there, so he is up to second. He will finish second in the classification. Too bad that Brambilla was there and that good. Otherwise, that would have been a Jersey win for us. Would have been a fantastic amount of points. Either way, though, still a great result for Arab. Eighth is good for us. And as a team, we put in a good enough performance here to hang on and beat BMB. So we will finish third in the team classification. Arab finished 15th on the stage, very similar to what he did on the first time trial, where he was inside that top 20. That time he was third among GC guys. Here you had the top three all within the top four, plus Vingegaard, but we were next. So we were fifth this time among contenders, and it was a very good time overall. Ben Tollett, minute 50 for him. He put in a very good time. That is clearly somebody who was still getting race day condition bonuses. Rather grateful that we saw him collapse there on stage 18 and lose 8 minutes, whatever it was. It was a lot, because otherwise he would have still been right there with us, and we only beat him by 7 seconds. That would have been awfully close, and he probably would have been 9th place or maybe 10th, depending on where he was. And relative to Arnsman, following that other stage, in theory, if he had a similar time to us. But dang. Top 10, very close battle for 8th through 10th, but we finish the front of that group, and we make the biggest jump in the top 15 anyway. Argave also made a 3 position jump, nearly made it 4, but Ben O'Connor just beats him by 10 seconds. Then Art makes a significant jump to 23rd, and Hanoch drops 1 position. He finishes 25th. He does complete a top 25 finish, though, so that's very respectable. And Ashimwe moves up 1 spot to 30th, one of the last riders within the hour mark. Gull, the final one, who was able to finish within 1 hour. The half-hour mark is the top 15, and big jump after that. 6 minutes after that to Ben O'Connor. 20 minutes is 13th and above. 15 minutes is 10th and above. 10 minutes is just the top 6. 5 minutes is just the podium finishers. In the end, Evenepoel is going to win by a minute 50, assuming that none of them get any time bonuses on the final stage, with only a single intermediate time check, and Pogačar shouldn't be going for that classification and shouldn't be winning it either. I mean, his 69 sprint is not bad amongst climbers, but it's certainly not going to beat the sprinters. And he certainly shouldn't be finishing in the top 3 either. As we go to enter the final day, we'll take one last look at where we are. Motivation is average across the board. Fitness levels are still good for a few riders. Sammy Arab, the best of them on that. As for the freshness, Mohira is excellent. Samuels is very good, as is Banuna. Arab just has dropped to bad. He was still at good just a couple of days ago. So he did really well maintaining his fitness level and his fatigue level, managing that throughout the race. You can see we have 3 riders, just 3 riders that ever reached their fitness peak. Ashimwe, 90 points. Samuels, 90 points. Both of them would have made their fitness peaks if they did not have fatigue going on. Now, Samuels has had it for a week or more. A week to 10 days. Ashimwe has had it for 2 days, maybe 3. By the end of the tour, we're definitely not as strong as we were at the end of the first week, when everybody was still great on their motivation and very fresh at that point, at least very good, if not excellent. And those 3 fitness peaks had all started by that point. So our numbers definitely not as good now as they were then, but a plus 13 at the end of the Tour de France for the expected. That's really good. And we had days where we were pretty neutral. I think we had 1 day in the tour where we were beyond. We had a lot of days where we were slightly negative. We had a couple days that were pretty bad. All in all, the race day condition did what it should have done throughout the tour. And Arab in particular had a lot of good days with that. But the support wasn't always there. The riders that were with him, the guys that had that best. Hanoch, our highest finisher, is because he was on the fitness peak the whole time. And that 75 plus 3, 4, 5 every day helped. really helped. Dylan Isaacs, he hit his fitness peak quite a bit later. It did not come in early, and he was already well down in the standings by the time it did. He had some negative draws in early days and served as domestique and lost a lot of time. But the surprising thing for me is just how bad Samuels was all race long. The fatigue, it's bad now, but it's only been bad for just over a week. But his race day condition draws were awful all race long. All race long. I'm not sure he had more than one day where he was in the positive at all. And his expected, even now, is still only a -1. Still only a -1. He's had -3 almost daily. And he's 61st. He's the second lowest rating on the entire team. Arab's done well enough. It's been a good race. A top 10 in this field with just how deep it is. I mean, the fact that there's 10 riders with an 81 mountain or better, and Arab's a 79 with a 74 stamina and a 75 time trial base. I mean, like, that's not the profile of a top 10 rider. Definitely not. And so I'm happy with our result here. 27K to go, and surprise, a big surprise. Breakaway is going to win the final stage of this Tour de France. They have a 7-minute advantage. We're now going to put our entire group on auto. I'm not going to bother with anything going on here. They instantly drop away from the front. Let's hope they don't lose. I take it back. I can't stand to see what they're doing here. We're going to get back in position. Give me a second. All right, 12K to go. I've resolved. I got us back into position. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ignore our team for now and just put them on 99. They will hold position. They will be fine. It's 12K. They'll get there. Here's the front group. Not a single rider is less than, I think, 3 hours behind. So there is absolutely zero threat to our position. Top 10 will go unchanged. But someone in this breakaway is going to win this stage. So we're going to watch and enjoy these final 6K. This is already the final time under the bridge there. And they are going to continue on and head towards the finish line. Charbonnier has done the dirty work to lead out, and he's upset that nobody else is going. 3 guys, including Blanco, just tried to do a little mini attack, but it didn't go anywhere. Blanco is now the one going deep, and he looks like he has got no chance at winning this one. But Braga is pretty well positioned, but now has to come to the front with 2.5K to go. He's at least got a little head start on the others, but he's definitely into the wind. Who on here? Ethan Hayter, maybe? Who's a capable sprinter? Ethan Hayter. Magnus Sheffield, great acceleration, really good flat rating. Surprised he's not up front, trying to set himself up for this. Maurice is certainly okay, and there's some other guys in the high 60s. Surprised Nance Peters isn't a little bit better, but gotta figure Ethan Hayter is the favorite here. He is well placed, and he starts his sprint from second wheel, which is going to give him a pretty significant advantage. He went a little early, but he is going to hang on and claim victory ahead of Van Wilder. And Magnus Sheffield comes in late. He was not well positioned. I think he was the best to challenge, but he started from the back. Still got up to third. Ethan Hayter's the favorite either way. I think Sheffield probably should have had second. And here is our team. 1.9K. So let's go forward. Never mind lead-outs. We'll just take it into the final kilometer or so. And attack. 8th place for Sammy Arab here in this tour. Great result under the circumstances of our quality. I think we could hope for and expect more in the other 2 Grand Tours, where the field is not as deep. Without a fight for a top position, the points go completely unchanged. Ethan Hayter jumps into the top 10, but only 7th, not imposing himself upon the top 3 at all. So Benyam Girmay easily takes the points classification. Tolet, of course, Brambilla, and Jumbo Visma on top. I'm happy with our third. I'm happy with our 8th overall. I'm happy with a second rider in the top 25. I'm happy with 4 team members in the top 10 of the under 25s classification. I'm happy with all but one of our riders in the top 20. Within this series, Roglic, Godou, and Evenepoel all have 3 major tours to their name. And the new rankings are in. We maintain third place in the team ranking, now over 10,000 points and still over 1,000 points behind the chasers. But there's 3 teams just behind us. And unless we can do something pretty remarkable in La Vuelta, I can see us dropping a little bit. But we are much higher placed than last season. And we had a good season last year. Evenepoel on the individual rankings jumps to second place, up 6 spots, but it's still Pogačar on top. Of course, he was on the podium with him, so he does score a solid amount of points there. Philipsen is kind of your first non-GC guy and the only non-GC guy in the top 10 of the rankings this year. It's Girmay, who is 12th. It's Arab, who moves up a little bit, is 15th, now has 3,000 points. And if you remember, he had like nothing last year because he was an up-and-comer, did not get the leadership role until the last race or 2 of the year. And so this has all been from this year. Tour de France, he grabbed 685 points for that result. He did not win either of those 2 stages. The 2 stage wins we had came from other members of the team. So looking at our team, Mason Samuels, who did have a good Tour de France last year with a different role, wore the jersey for a while, and I think that's part of where some people's frustrations with us not being able to do more with Arab. It's very different when you are going for stages, going for the KOM, than when you are going for GC. Samuels had good form early, attacked, and nobody cared last year. He wasn't well placed, and all of a sudden he was wearing the leader's jersey and had a comfortable lead. He lost that and dropped down the order, but still had a good overall finish. This was a totally different year where you have somebody who's in a top 10 position. He was outside of the top 10 for 1 stage. And the following stage was a time trial, and he got back into the top 10. So as a contender, he wasn't allowed to attack and do anything, and we were never, ever strong enough late in a stage to attack. I did try to attack 1 stage, if you remember, and we gained time. We did gain time, but we were only in a position to do that once, and we did it. And it did work out on that occasion decently well, but he had to sit up and let a group come back to him to recover, to have enough to finish the stage. But he still gained time over quite a few contenders as a result of that move, and that whole split off and having that small group there was due to that move. So it was the right move at the right time, and it very much worked out for us. But anyway, Samuels, down to 30th in the overall. That's definitely not helping him or his case to bump South Africa up. Rwanda has a definite chance, but Ashimwe did not have the year. He's not had the year that he had last year. Right, last year he was super successful here. He gained 100 points this year for the tour. The Giro Adriatico is where he got the bulk of his points. I don't think 900 or 77th overall is going to help Rwanda. Morocco is very much due a training point now with 3,000 points. Got to be heading for training points or point for Morocco. South Africa and Rwanda, it's looking like maybe not their year. Eritrea, the only reason why it would be their year is if it's Girmay. But he's already collected a point, so I don't know. Tunisia, Musa, they're like a 1, I think, for training rating. Is that enough? Top 200, 448 points? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. Nations that are very much an afterthought in this game compared to other nations. Eritrea, over 5,000 points, 16th. South Africa, 4,000 points, 17th. Morocco is now 18th. Rwanda is 22nd. We are very much picking up the mantle of kind of best to the rest outside of your big 15 nations. Russia, like, we're outscoring Russia with Morocco. It's a huge nation for any sports. They dope the crap out of themselves to win. Sammy Arab's the best thing we've had come along. And 5 stars is good. And a 79 mountain and an 81 medium mount. Those are good ratings. There are 13 active 6-star riders in the field. 11 of them. 10 of them. 10 of them are climbers. There are 63 5.5-star talents. 63. Including a Japanese rider. We were just noting how Japan is 24th in the rankings, have done nothing. They've got a 5.5-star talent. They've got an 81 mountain guy. Sammy Arab is the 37th ranked 5-star rider. He's outside of the top 100. Well outside of the top 100. And we're going to start getting into that cruise mode down towards the end of the season where we have La Vuelta. And Il Lombardia is just about all that's left. And then we'll be into the next one. And that'll be what I estimate is the last season before the release of PCM24. And let's hope that there's a change. The initial trailer release suggests that it's going to be the same game for the 9th year in a row. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.